What's up, everyone? My name is Josh, and this is Josh Unbox, and welcome back to the Daily Grind, a video series in which I talk about particular cards, plays, strategy, news, and how it affects the overall sports card market. In other words, I'm just trying to find a way to help us navigate through the craziness of the sports card world of today, as well as to help us make much more sound purchasing and selling decisions. And today, I wanted to do a discussion video in terms of the emotional aspects of selling items from your PC. Now, as a collector slash investor, collector first, investor second, it really is difficult choosing cards from your PC to sell, especially when it comes to buying a much bigger card. So like one of my previous videos before this, I talked about one of my current collecting goals, and that is to acquire a 1980 Topps Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, Julius Erving card, preferably in a PSA 6. And I showed off some cards that I was planning to sell to help me reach that goal. Now, some of those cards were PC cards, and it was very, very difficult to choose which cards I wanted to sell for my PC. Now, whenever I had come up with a goal of whatever I want to obtain, I looked through my PC and tried to decide, okay, which of these cards am I willing to move? And I'll go through the process of selecting which cards, coming up with my reasonings why, and then right when it comes to the time of trying to post it and sell it, different thoughts come in my head depending on the card. Like sometimes a thought would be like, oh, this was a really rare card. You got this card at a great price. Why do you want to let it go now? Or another reason being is that, oh man, this is a guy that you really, really love. Why are you letting go of his card? It's cool to have a whole bunch of cards of this particular player, build a PC of a player. And it's difficult. It's very, very difficult. And when I get those thoughts in my head, it kind of causes me to pause a little bit and go, okay, do I really want to sell this card or not? And it's always a constant struggle trying to do that. As a former video game collector, it was very hard for me to let go of my video game collection. And every so often, every year or two, I always go through a purge of my video games and start selling them off because there's something else I want to buy. I'm familiar with the emotional aspect of letting go of physical items that I love, of a collection, but it doesn't make it any easier, right? But one thing that I've found that makes it very, very easy for me nowadays is to say to myself, what purpose does it serve for this card to leave my collection? If I'm giving it purpose, then it makes it easier for me to let it go. So like for this instance, with that 2011 Bowman Chrome Mike Trout, it was very hard for me to decide to sell that card. It's my only Mike Trout rookie card that I own, and plus I got it at a great price, half of what it's going for now, or even less than that. But the aspect of letting it go and understanding that, hey, this card is gonna go to another card that I've been wanting for a very, very long time, and it makes it easier for me to justify letting it go. It allows me to detach myself emotionally from that card because my emotional attachment to the other card is much greater than the card that I'm selling. And sometimes when the profits or the item that you're selling has purpose, like you have a purpose for the money, it makes it easier to sell. Now we could use, for example, like medical emergencies, family emergencies. When these things happen, you're selling off whatever provides the most value, and at that point in time, you have no emotional attachment to that. You're selling it because the use of that money serves a greater purpose. And I think when it comes to buying cards in your PC, or when we're buying these things that are part of a hobby, finding a greater purpose for your items is difficult, or justifying that selling an item for a greater purpose is hard because you're selling one card to purchase another card. It's nothing like in need of an emergency. But I feel that, by allowing or telling myself that I'm giving this card purpose, that I'm selling this card for this particular reason. That's why when you're in the flipping aspect of it and you're buying a card at a low value and buying a card and selling it at a higher value, you've detached yourself from that card, because that card's purpose was to buy with the intention of flipping, right? So that's why you don't have that emotional attachment to it. However, when it comes to your PC cards, you're buying these PC cards with the intention to keep, which creates that emotional attachment to it. And when it comes to selling PC cards, it becomes very hard because you handpick these cards to go into your PC basically. And when it comes time to kind of purchase a big card and you're trying to figure out which cards I want to let go, that emotional aspect kicks in. So yeah, it's a very difficult process whenever I try to sell a card from my PC to fund a bigger card to come into the PC instead. The whole concept of consolidation is difficult just because of that emotional aspect. But I feel that, if you give the items purpose, if there's a purpose for the item, I feel that it makes it easier for me to sell the card. At first it was difficult to let go of that Bowman Chrome Mike Trout or that 2019 Topps flagship Fernando Tatis, because I'm a big Tatis collector. Giving it purpose and telling myself that this is to help fund that. Now, a question that comes to my head when I decide which cards to sell is that, am I able to obtain this card later in the future? And most times you are able to obtain these cards later on in the future. However, the second question that pops up is, are you willing to pay the price that it's going for now, knowing that you bought in on the card at a really great price before? And that's a second aspect of the whole emotional barrier that comes with selling a PC card. But at that point in time, it becomes very difficult because you don't want to spend more to get a card back that you bought at a cheaper price previously. For me, it's just more about giving these cards purpose to be able to move it for a greater purpose. But yeah, I hope that makes sense. But that's about it. I just wanted to talk about that emotional aspect of selling cards, especially from your PC, and how difficult it can be at times, and how sometimes I struggle with it. And I don't think I'm the only one who struggles with that too. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of collectors out there that struggle with letting go of some of their cards to help fund a bigger card. But it's something that we do in order to consolidate and get big cards in our collection. I feel that's the only way for us as guys that don't have big bankrolls to be able to fund a purchase for a much bigger card. And it's all about serving that greater purpose. So I really hope you guys found some value in this. If you guys did, go ahead and hit the thumbs up button. If you haven't yet, please consider subscribing. These are just my thoughts on the matter, on the subject, but I like doing videos on a daily basis, whether it's talking about particular cards, plays, strategy, news, or just having these types of discussions, because I feel like talking about this kind of helps out. It's kind of like therapy in a sense, if that makes any sense. But it's just a way for you guys to get a kind of look at my whole thought process and how I go about doing things in this hobby. But yeah, once again, thank you guys for watching. And with that being said, my name is Josh, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Later.